Hey friends and book lovers, welcome. Today's video is my May TBR, and for this one I'm really excited because I'm doing 2 readathons. Is more than one readathon too many readathons? Well, either way, I'm gonna overlap a bunch of these prompts, so I should still be golden to get all of these prompts, or at least a bunch of these prompts done. So the first readathon that I am participating in is one that I did last year as well, and it is the Asian Readathon with Cindy here on like BookTube, YouTube. She does a lot of different content now, but she still hosts the May Asian Readathon. There is a bunch of prompts, and I think I'm gonna have like 2 or 3 books. I'm gonna fulfill a few of the prompts. I don't think you have to do every single one, but you can definitely do a few, or you could do all of it. You could have like 1 or 2 or 3 books that cover a bunch of different prompts, so there's a lot of different options and I really love that. The second readathon that I'm doing is May the Force Read With You Readathon, which is hosted by I think 3 or 4 booktubers. The one that I know of is Break Even Books, so that's Eric, and he announces on his channel, and I was so excited to jump right in and join them because I really enjoy his channel and I think he's awesome. So I am really excited for that one. That one also, the prompts for the May the Force Read With You, the books that I have definitely go with the Asian Readathon books, so it is a pretty ambitious TBR still, but I am hopeful that I'll get most of these books done. So April so far hasn't been the best reading month. I've definitely still gotten a bunch of books read, but I haven't gotten to a couple of books that I really wanted to. So you'll see on this TBR a couple of overlaps and a couple of books that have been in past TBRs, just because I'm hoping in the month of May I can finally get to them. These first 2 books could definitely go for the first 2 or 3 prompts, and prompt 1 is read a book by an Asian author. Prompt 2 is read a book with an Asian protagonist. And prompt 3 is read an Asian author in your favorite genre. I have been meaning to get to this series for a long time. It's even in my spring TBR series video, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Obviously, I'm sure you've all heard about this by now. Most readers love The Poppy War if they've read it. I know that there are some different views on the third in this trilogy, but I've heard mostly very good things about the first in this series, so that's what I'll be reading, and it kind of goes in all of the 3 prompts. So Asian author, Asian protagonist, and Asian author in my favorite genre, which is fantasy. This is part of the grimdark subgenre, so that'll be kind of interesting for me to get a taste of some grimdark while I'm at it too. The next one is actually a standalone fantasy novel, and that is not something we get a lot in fantasy. A ton of books in fantasy are usually series or trilogies or duologies, but they're never usually standalone. It's really hard to get all the world building done, all the character work done, everything in one book, so it's understandable that we don't have a ton of standalones, but that actually is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong. It is a standalone fantasy novel that is Asian inspired by an Asian author with an Asian protagonist, and it is also fulfilling the 5th prompt, which is to read a book that is not US centric, and this is definitely a non-US centric Asian story, so that is a really exciting. It is a tome though, like look at her, she is thick, and she is like what, 600 or so pages long, which just feels really thick for a book, even though it is a standalone story. This actually follows 2 characters. We have a character who is a former fighter and a mother, and a younger character who is training and would like to be kind of a fighter in the future. And that is mostly what I know about it. I know that it deals with an oncoming war and also family dynamics within the Matsuda family, of which these 2 characters I believe are part of, and that is all I need to know. I have heard amazing things about the female Asian protagonist in this story. She is a mother, she's a wife, she's a fighter, and she's an all-around apparently very badass woman, and I can't wait to finally get to know her story and get to this book as well. The next books that I'll be reading as also part of the Asian Readathon are City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper. City of Brass is one that we were supposed to read for the month of April with Books with V's channel. I'm probably gonna get to this at the end of April, early May. And Kingdom of Copper is the May pick for Books with V's read along, and I'm excited. These are still Asian books and they are non-US centric as well. This is set in the Middle East and I think it still counts towards the Asian readathon. I am stoked. I don't know much about this. Again, I think I said that in TBRs before, but I know that it is a trilogy. I know that it's set in the Middle East. I know that there is a lot of mention of food in this book and that the food mention is really delicious, so I need to have some snacks on hand. I know I mentioned that in a previous video, so I'm really excited. This trilogy has been highly praised by other booktubers as well, like Joanna from Joanna Sousa and Abby from Abby Salter. They both love this trilogy and I can't wait to share, hopefully, in that love for this trilogy, and I'm really excited. Oh my gosh, y'all, they are both just stunning books, so we will see. And again, the author for this is S.A. Chakraborty, and I am excited to finally read some of her work. If you guys have read this series and love it, please leave that in the comments down below. I'm always intrigued to hear y'all's thoughts and see if we have similar reading tastes. So like I said before, the other readathon I'm doing is May the Force Read With You, which is being led by a few booktubers. Primarily the one that I am aware of and that I follow is Eric from Break Even Books, and this is a Star Wars Jedi inspired readathon because since we have May the 4th this month and everyone says May the 4th be with you, which is May the Force be with you, which is part of the whole Star Wars franchise. I don't know why I'm explaining it, but here we are. And they have 3 different paths that you can take. You can do the Jedi light side, you could do, I guess, the neutral side, and then you can also do the dark side. So a lot of the books that I really wanted to read this month are part of the light side, and there are 5 prompts to complete. One of the prompts for that is the knowledge prompt, and it is read a book that has been on your TBR for the longest or a really long time. Now, I bought Sword of Kaigan a while back. I think it's been almost a year, and I have been saving it for the Asian Readathon because I really wanted to include it as a prompt for that readathon. And because it's been on my TBR for such a long time, it also falls under the knowledge prompt for the light side. So I figured this could be a great overlap for both readathons and one book that I really want to get to. So this gives me even more fuel to my fire to just get it read and done. The other prompt is cleansed, read a book with a white cover, and I think Poppy War falls squarely into that prompt since its cover is mostly white with some black and with some orange, but I say that this still counts, and I'm very excited to be able to use this for both readathons. Again, like I said before, this is a booktube darling and a really popular book, even among other readers that are not on booktube. So I'm excited to finally get a chance to read this series. The next book is also going to be fulfilling a prompt, and that is the healing prompt, reading a book from your favorite genre. So a lot of these could fall into that because they are of the fantasy genre, but this one specifically falls under a premise that I've always been really interested in, and it's one of those like Dark Lord premises, and this is kind of like a Dark Lord origin story, and it is set in a school setting. I've had this for a while as well, so it could also fall in a book that's been on your TBR for the longest prompt, but I'm gonna put it for the healing prompt because I really especially do love magical school settings and Dark Lord stories of any sort. I find them super interesting when we get to explore the villain further. And that is Master of Poisons by Justin T. Call. I know that this is also on my like 10 or 11 books to absolutely read this year, which I'll link up there. This is, like I said, set in a school setting, I believe, and it is a Dark Lord origin story from what I remember reading. This is going to be part of a series. I'm not sure if it's going to be a trilogy or a full series with more than 3 books, but I know that the second book is coming out either May or June or July, so sometime in the near future, and I want to read the first one so that I can read the second one when it comes out, especially if the first one leaves us on a cliffhanger, which I'm not sure if it will leave us on a cliffhanger or not, but I am just scared. So I put it off until the second one's coming out, and I cannot wait. The cover for this is also just like absolutely freaking stunning, and I think the second book is a similar type of cover but with like the silver foil, so they're gonna look so good together, and I cannot wait to read this one. I have heard some good things from people that have read it, but I also haven't heard a ton of people who have read it before. So if you have read this book, or if you have it on your TBR to read it at some point, let me know because I'd love to be able to discuss this book with you in the future. So the next prompt, I'm actually going to steal from the neutral because the light side prompt for for this didn't really fit any of the books that I wanted to read, and that is going to be Force Vision. So a book set either in the past or in the future, either with historical or sci-fi elements or sci-fi story. And because I've read the first one in this series and it definitely had some strong sci-fi elements, I am going to use The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams, the second in the Winnowing Flame trilogy, for the Force Vision prompt. So I am really excited. I really loved the first one. I have a review on The Ninth Reign that I can also link up here if you guys are interested in reading it. We're going to be buddy reading it from a few folks from Shelf Space Discord that enjoyed the first one and really want to get to the second one. Since the first one does end with a bang, we all definitely want to get to the second one as soon as possible. So we made it a book in May that we're all going to read together. So I can't wait. I'm really excited. I don't know when everyone's going to pick this up, but I'll probably pick it up like second week of May or something because I'm so excited to finally be able to read this. Jen Williams' writing is so amazing. There's a dragon on the cover, so I'm hoping for some dragons in this book, and chef's kiss. It's really a really fun trilogy, and like other booktubers have said, and like I've said, it's definitely a diamond in the rough, and one that I think if you like this type of fantasy, then you should definitely read it. The last prompt for the light side and for the May the Force Read With You Readathon is the Jedi Council to read a book in a series. I'm gonna say that a duology counts, even though I think the dark side has to read a book in a duology. That's okay, we won't tell her. We're still gonna go with this one, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now last month I read Six of Crows, as you've probably seen in my April TBR, and this month I want to finish the duology and read Crooked Kingdom. The show has already come out, so I know that this book is not part of the show, but I wanted to read the duology before I even dove into the show itself. So excited to get to this one. These books fly by so fast. They're so fun. They're so easy to read. They're young adult, and it's just so easy to get through it. And I'm really stoked to read this book and see how the sequel ends because listen, the way Six of Crows ended, I was like, really? It's gonna be like that again? I don't know why authors love to do that trope. And if you know Six of Crows, you know what trope I'm talking about. They just love to tear things apart. And I just can't stand it because I hate that. But it makes me want to read this one even more, and I'm really excited. I've heard that this one breaks your heart even more than the first one did, and I am not ready for the tears that I'm gonna have in this one, but I'm excited. And also, reading this one, then I can read the next duology, which is the Nikolai duology, which starts with King of Scars, which I'm really excited about because I adore Nikolai. So can't wait to finish this one and then go on to the next one by Leigh Bardugo because I'm really actually loving her books in a way that I didn't predict before. And then this next one is kind of like a bonus, a book that I really need to read. I meant to read this in March, but I didn't get to it. I'm gonna try to start this at the end of April, early March, and finish it. It is a tome though. It's like, what, 600 pages? I think all of these books are like 400, 500, 600 pages, but this one is I'm hoping to get to it in the month of May, but no promises, but I really want to get to it. And that is Valor by John Gwynne. It's the second one in the Faithful and the Fallen series. Again, because it's the second book, I can't say too much, but if you check out Malice by John Gwynne, that one's a really good one. It takes a little while to get into the book, and there are many POVs, more than I'm actually used to, but it is really worth it, and it is a really fun read. His writing is so smooth, just like butter, and I absolutely love his writing style, which makes me just want to read more of his works, if not just like every single one of his works. So I'm really stoked for that one. Another one that I'm going to try to get to if I'm able to is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Also, it is a first in another series that he is doing, and it has nothing to do with the Faithful and the Fallen series or the spin-off series from that one. So I know that I can safely start that one without having read the rest of his works. There is also an unofficial, I think unofficial buddy read for the Shelf Space Discord going on for that book, so I want to be able to join in on that one if I'm able to. That one I think is going to be a tome as well, but you know, we're ambitious over here. We have way too many books on our TBR. We're way too ambitious. So those are all the books that I'm planning to read for the month of May. Of course, things could always change because I do mood read. So sometimes things go on, things go off, things stay on the TBR. We just never know. If you're reading any of these books in the month of May, please let me know in the comments down below. I always love hearing from you guys and hearing what you're reading. And if you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button. That really does help me out a lot. And if you like this content and you want to see more from me, please don't hesitate to subscribe.